All right. Hi, everyone. Of course, I always start early because I know that there's a little bit of a lag with LinkedIn Live. Just wanted to say hi. If you are tuning in, please share with us in the comment where you're tuning in from. Just a little bit of housekeeping for those of you who are backstage. Definitely encourage you to participate in the conversation. Just make sure that you are clicking on the comments icon versus the private chat, because when you share messages in the private chat, people who are tuning in are not able to see what you're typing. Okay? Amazing. I love it when people come in early. Wow, we've got Octavia. Nice to see you here. Who else is tuning in? Would love to see. Of course, I know that people are still rolling in because we're supposed to start in 5 minutes, but it's really, really good to see people. Okay, another thing for my wonderful audience is, people come on here and are vulnerable. Let's encourage them. Let us be supportive of them. If you have advice that you want to share, feel free to do so in the chat. I always encourage that because sometimes you might have ideas that I may not have thought of. I love to make sure that these sessions are collaborative, and that we get multiple perspectives. And if you are dealing with a similar situation, you can also chime in, right? So, for those of you who have never been on this live before, I just wanted to quickly share with you why I decided to do this. I decided to do this because I honestly felt like there isn't enough safe spaces for people to authentically ask questions, to authentically share their career challenges. There's a lot of podcasts and call-in shows for people who have relationship issues, um, finance issues. There are many, many shows where you can call in and ask an expert for advice. But I was surprised that there isn't one for careers. And this is why I decided to come up with this. Think of it almost like Oprah Winfrey for careers. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and participating. And since it's close to 7 p.m., I'm just going to bring in our first guest so that we can make sure that we answer everyone's questions. So the first guest that we have is Ravi. Ravi, I'm going to bring you on stage. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Nara. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. And yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so how can we help? What are some of the things that you want to pick my brain on?
yep. I just want to talk regarding the present market. Like we are seeing here, people are transitioning from software engineers to product managers, software engineers to project managers, or something who has a computer science background. It's being, as an interior, architect. So I graduated. I did my bachelor's from architecture, and now I am planning to get into product space, which is totally different from what I've done in my bachelor's. So that's what I just want to hear your perspectives. Like, is it going to be the same as like what people are trying, who is trying to transition from computer science to product, and from me as an art student to getting into an IT product manager?
Okay, good question. So, what is your biggest concern? Is it in terms of the feasibility of making this transition?
Yes.
All
I mean,
right.
yeah.
And what, makes you feel that that might not be as feasible? Is there something in particular? Have you gotten feedback, regarding that matter? What is the driver behind that?
I'm not very sure. I spoke with multiple, product managers who are right now in the market. Whoever I spoke with, everyone are from tech background. So I'm not very sure. Whom should I contact to also to get into right perspectives also, because there are very few people. I'm not very sure. I'm not saying that there are no people. There are very
Mm.
few people, but I mean, it's very hard to get into touch with them and speak with them and know their uh, prospects. I mean, how they transition and all.
Yes, that's a good point. Before I get into that, and by the way, thank you, Octavia, for sharing with us that you're a product manager as well. And what you just said reminds me of something, but I'm going to park that for a minute. Tell us, what is your background? So I see that you were a project manager.
Yeah.
What domain, what background do you come from?
Yes, I did my bachelor's in architecture, so I'm basically an architect. So after that, I did my, I mean, I did one. I mean, I have 1.5 years of experience as a interior designer and project manager in a construction industry. And after that, I did my master's, and so I felt okay. I want to pursue my further into management. So that's how I came in. I plan to do my master's in engineering management. And like once I am into engineering management, I got to know about like the customer focus on, I mean, about product management, being more customer focused and getting user feedbacks and building the products which is more customer oriented. So that's how I thought, okay, I'll transition into product management rather getting into more into project management in a construction industry.
Okay,
So
beautiful, beautiful. And just to clarify for those of you who are listening, because I'm able to see your LinkedIn and others might not understand this, when we say that you're an architect, we're talking about within the world of real estate. We're not talking about a solution architect, but we're talking about an architect who designs, like buildings and things like that. So just wanted to clarify that for everyone. Okay, so what you're feeling is that the transition you're making is unconventional and not something that is typical of how people get into product. And so you're starting to question, is it worth pursuing? Is it feasible? Is it doable? Do I have a great chance?
correct.
Just to kind of, let's say, cut to the chase, I'll tell you that I actually helped someone who was an architect
Oh, okay.
transition into product.
Cool.
And it is definitely rare, but it's very possible. He successfully did that transition. And I can definitely see some of the characteristics that an architect possesses that is transferable and can make them successful as a product manager. So let's go into your big why, into why you want to be a product manager. So what do you feel is your biggest driver?
I would say I can understand more customer needs. That's what
Mm,
makes me, because as an interior designer, as I mentioned, as an interior designer and project manager, I used to be. I mean, my prior experience in interior design and product management. I mean, project management. I used to understand what client needs, and I used to deliver what the client deliverables are. Like, not only in the project space. I mean, if you think in a project space, it's a tiny project. Like, it's just a project which with a fixed length and fixed budget and all. But one coming, I mean, I know that product is more about dealing a product which is continuously evolving or more iterations and all.
mhm.
So I mean, that drove me like, okay, I think I can. I mean, if I can do it in a small project wise, I think I can do it in the product wise also. Like, I can be more. I mean, I can understand what customer needs, and I know how to prioritize. Like, these things I transferred. I mean, I transferred it from my project management skill, like prioritizing the tasks and prioritizing what the customer needs are, and I also have a little bit of experience in business, because I mean, I'm a freelancer also before. So I have multiple understanding on both business, I mean, like business tech, little bit
Mhm.
of technical, and then from understanding the customer needs. So that's how I felt like, okay, I can pursue into product management. That's my opinion.
Yes, yes. What would you say? And I absolutely agree, Octavia, that I hope I'm saying your name right. I absolutely agree that he can do it, that Ravi can do it. Um, Now, based on helping, so many people, I'll say thousands at this point, whether it's clients through lives, through masterminds, through my community, the biggest success factor that I've seen for people is not actually competency. It's actually how passionate you are about what it is that you're pursuing and why it is important to you. So, this is why I'm asking you all these questions.
Right.
Um, what was the most frustrating thing for you in the architectural world where you felt restricted? What do you think it was?
I think I would say there are no restrictions in the architecture world, because both in the designing wise and the execution wise, you won't be having any restrictions. But the major part, I mean, I would say there is one restriction is the budget. You would see from a
Mm.
client perspective, like he might need an X and his budget is like below the X value. So
Mhm.
so that would be always a difficult part to get into, I mean, work in architectural field. I mean, you will have a numerous of ideas that you want to implement and display it, but it would be always like there will be strings that will be pulling you back. The-
Mhm.
there will be a budget, or there could be a timeline. So there are different factors.
But what was your pet peeve? Because there must be something that's driving you nuts right now in the architectural world, or something that was driving you nuts in the architectural world that has been causing you to want to get out of it and get into product.
Oh, uh, I'm so the major aspect for coming from architecture to pursuing the product management is nothing that I didn't like getting into architecture, but I want to become more into product management, because I just want to explore the IT. I mean, explore the information technology world. I mean, in the present world of AI and machine learning, I'm very enthusiastic to know more about this data science, data engineering, like AI, machine learning. So all these aspects. So I just want to know more about them, and I just want to implement. I want to be one in that industry, like to make that little impact.
So, and why is that important to you?
Uh, I would say it's an inspiration from my fellow friends, like who try. I mean, I would say it's an inspiration. I got it from one of my friends. Like he transitioned from architecture to data scientist. Now he is one of the lead data scientists in one of the company. So how he transitioned, it made me like, okay, I could do it. So that is a major reason. I would say it's nothing that I hate architecture, or it's nothing like I love more into product management. It's more about the inspiration he has given me.
Interesting, interesting. So it sounds to me that maybe it is an opportunity for growth, and there is an element of curiosity in terms of learning something new, and maybe there is an element of you've plateaued, you've gone as far as you can possibly in the architectural world, and so you need that change and you need that innovation.
Yep, I would say something like that. Yep.
And something that I remember that my client, who was in architecture, who shared that he shared with me that was frustrating, and I see that in clients who are in the physical world, whether it is the automotive industry. I've worked with clients, in that space who pivot into product management, and also in architecture. Um, in fact, I actually worked with multiple architects, believe it or not, who transitioned into the digital world, and they all shared with me that what was frustrating is the length of time it takes to build something. I would imagine that, as an architect, when you're launching a building, it takes a while, right?
True. I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I mean,
versus in the digital world, you get to see the impact of what you're building a lot faster.
I totally agree on that. Yep. I mean, usually for getting things done in an architecture field, I mean, sometimes it takes months, sometimes it takes years. So right now I'm working as a product management intern at one of the companies. So I mean, intern. So here I'm seeing the results like in a weeks. I mean, in a
Mm.
sprint also. In a sprint, I could see some results, like something is being progressed or something is being done. I mean, something is being displayed or something being used by the customers. So literally feeling that, like, okay, I mean, which is pushing me more to work on it.
Exactly. All right. So To me, I'm hearing all the right reasons to get into the role versus sometimes people come to me and it sounds like they're simply chasing a shiny object. When it's that way, then that's when I start worrying. Are we doing this for the right reason? Because when we're doing things for the wrong reasons, we might end up thinking that we enjoy the role, and then we end up in that role, and then we realize that we don't enjoy it. Or if we're just chasing that to make more money, then that's not, we're not going to be as passionate. And when you're not passionate, your journey becomes harder. You know, we go through challenges if we're driven by passion. That's what I see. Okay. So it sounds to me like you're a dreamer, and you're worried that you're not being very practical.
Yep.
And the truth is that what got you to being an architect was you being a dreamer. And you got to not let that stop. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I just gave you a couple of stories of clients who are architects who were able to do it. I understand that there's a lot of fear around the economy and all of that stuff. But here's the deal. I think that that's across the board, across
Right.
everything, all of the roles out there. And it's not going to get easier. And that shouldn't be a reason why we shouldn't try. In fact, it's going to get even worse. The advantage of technology is that now there's more awareness of other roles. The internet, makes it easy for us to learn about other roles that we wouldn't have learned about before, things being, technology driven. The disadvantage is now everyone wants to transition into careers and everyone wants to try different things. So the competition is fiercer. And so that's not going to change. And so what can we do to improve our chances? You already shared with me that you're doing an internship and you've been doing it, what, for 9 months now?
Yes.
Okay.
More than 8 months. Yeah.
So you already have the hands-on experience.
Yeah.
So why would it be hard for you to get in?
Yep. I mean, I'm not very sure whether the things which I'm doing right now is more into product, because the things I'm doing in right now is feeling like I already have some experience in it. Like, I think I'm totally transitioning from the architecture field to product management, because the things which I do right now, like noting down the customer needs and making sure that being, I mean, prioritizing the features and then delivering that to the clients. So that's everything which I'm doing right now is really making me push to pursue that. But the
Exactly.
current scenario is the, I mean, the current scenario with the market and all is making me more fear, like whether I could convert that, I mean, whether I could pursue this into my full time or not. Like, because most of my friends, I mean, many of them are suggesting that why you transition in I mean, you think you transition in the wrong time, like you shouldn't be doing this. I mean, you should pursue project management in construction. That would be a right field for you. That's what, I mean, they're mentioning, but I'm still not losing that hope, and I just want to get into product. So that's what. Yeah, it's like I'm in a confusion state, I would say.
Okay. It sounds to me, okay. So are you like, are you working right now?
Yeah.
You're doing that internship.
Yes, I'm currently doing the internship.
So what's the worst that's going to happen if you try?
I might fail or I might go into it. Yeah.
If you don't try, it's never going to happen.
True.
But if you try, there's a chance it's going to happen. So what's the harm in trying?
There's no harm, but yeah. I think, yeah, I mean, it's just, I just need to push myself like this, I guess, more, I guess.
If you are that passionate about the role, then it's not, then don't you think that it's worth it to try?
Yep, it is.
And if you're worried about, okay, there's a risk like, you don't have to go all in the sense of putting all of your eggs in one basket. Sure, try applying for those construction project manager roles as a backup. Just
Got it.
like how when we apply for universities, we have our dream university and then we have our backup universities.
True.
So that if for some reason the dream university doesn't pan out, we have other options. But, I find that sometimes, I mean, most of the time when people are very focused on getting into that dream university, most of the time it happens. Because psychologically, having that focus makes you try harder.
Got it.
Awesome. Okay.
Yep. Thank you so much, Nada.
You're welcome. I think you just needed a pep talk. That's what I think. And just, what from a tactical, pragmatic point of view, what I recommend you do right now during the internship, journal. Journal the wins that you've been having in your projects. Brand yourself as someone who talk in more depth about the product that you were working on. One of the big characteristics of a product manager is your business sense and your product sense. What does that mean? They want to see that you understand the product. They want to see that you understand the business. They want to see that you understand the end user needs. And even with your previous architect roles, think of whatever it is that you are building, even though it is physical, it's still a product. So talk about it from that sense. Use the same product terminology and help whoever is reading your resume understand what is the unique approach that you brought in to make that product successful. It doesn't matter whether it was a digital product or a physical product.
Got it.
Cool?
Cool. Yep, sure. Thank you so much, Nada.
You're very welcome. All right. Thank you so much. Nithya, I'm going to bring you on stage. How are you doing?
Hi, Nada. I'm doing very well. Thank you. How are you?
Good. Good. It's so good to have you here.
Same here. Thank you. Thank you for providing me with this opportunity to talk to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what I tell people when they jump on is this is for you, not for me. And you get to ask me any questions. So, whatever that it is that you need help with, share with me.
Yeah. So I think the point where I'm struggling is I am new to the US. I moved about a year and a half back, and most of my career has been either in India or the UK, right? So I don't have much experience in the US. So I moved about a year and a half back, and I transferred from the company I was working for. But then the organization went through some changes where my position was actually moved to Europe. So I didn't want to up and shift, transfer again from the US to Europe. So I opted to quit the company, and I'm in the process of looking for a job here. So I don't know whether the less experience in the US is a factor, especially in a role that I'm looking for at mid management and senior management. I do not have a huge network here in the US because my network is based either in the UK or in India. So, and especially for mid management and senior management, it is easier to go into organizations through referrals. So that is where I'm struggling. So how could I build my network here, build connections here? How do I look for the right recruiters or the right organizations to actually get in? Because blindly applying for jobs is not going to work, right? That much I'm really clear. So I think that is where I'm struggling. So should I maybe look for a lower position to just get in and maybe grow from there? That is another question that's going on, or argument with myself. I don't want to compromise, but at the same time, just to get an in, I'm thinking whether that is an option or not. So I think this is broadly where I would need your help.
Okay. I'm going to tell you a little story just to help you understand a little bit why I don't recommend going for a lower role.
Mm.
So I have a client who basically, I think he was in Canada at some point, and then he moved to the US. And when I saw him, he said to me that he wanted to move back to Canada. And I think he had more experience in US than Canada. Anyway, um, basically, he felt that he got laid off and he felt that he should go for lower level roles. So he was a VP and he thought that maybe his chances are going to improve and he'll find a job faster if
Mm.
he took a director level position.
Okay.
So him and I talked, and he shared with me that it was taking him quite some time to land a job. And he was applying and applying, and he wasn't successful. So the first thing that I said to him was, the reason you're not successful is because you're applying for roles that are too junior. And when recruiters see that, when hiring managers see that, they're not going to want to interview you, because there are two things that come to their mind. One thing is that you're overqualified and therefore you're going to be looking for a salary that is higher than their range. And then the second thing they might feel is that this is just going to be a bridge role for you.
Okay.
Okay. And especially if you're an executive, they're not going to want a high turnover rate for executives, because you're taking care of the organization. I mean, think about it. If there's a lot of changes in leadership, it's going to impact the team, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's going to create chaos for people at the bottom. You know, people want security. They want to have the same leadership taking care of them for a while. It just ends up changing the culture of the organization. So those are two big reasons why it's a bad idea to. I'm using strong words here and saying bad, but it's usually harder to actually get a job if they see you branding yourself as someone who's an executive and you're trying to apply for a job that is a lower level. Now,
No,
I
that makes
totally,
absolute sense. Yeah, and
yeah,
I've never thought about it from that perspective, but yeah, it absolutely makes a lot of sense. Yes.
yeah. So what happened to that person that I helped, that executive, was, it was a tough time. It was around Christmas time, and he really needed to get an opportunity because finances were tight. So he said, I still want to try anyway. Help me with my resume and let us see if making that resume change is going to improve my chances. And I know that the resume is never a magical unicorn, right? If you're not going for the right opportunities and the reasons I gave you, no matter how amazing the resume is, it's not going to solve the problem. But hey, sometimes I just have to align what I do to my clients' goals, and they get to decide. They get to choose their adventure. So if he really wanted that adventure and he wanted to deal with the trolls and the rainy forest, then I will respect that. So, of course, we pursued that director opportunity. We aligned the resume to it. We even dumbed down what he did to align to what they're looking for. And guess what? In the end, even though he knew someone there, he had a referral, he didn't get the job, which is exactly what I expected. But something in him changed because of the initial conversation that we had, and he decided to do something different. He applied for a VP level role over the weekend. Of course, he learned how to articulate his experience from me anyway, and he applied that to the opportunity. Lo and behold, he applied on Friday. He got a phone call on Saturday, and then he got the offer on Monday.
Wow.
That's the story. So this is why I tell people that the issue is not that you need to take a more junior role, because it's gonna come back to you in a way that is not amazing. Now I want to address the thing about I do not have the enough US experience.
Yep.
Obviously, I want to keep your information confidential, so we're not going to be specific here. But when I'm looking at your profile, it seems to me that you've been in the US for close to 3 years at this point at a particular company.
No, about a year and a half.
About a year and a half.
Yeah. So I took on that role when I was in India, and then midway I actually moved to the
Okay.
US. Yeah.
So this is a global company, right?
Yeah.
So what's the problem? You have US experience.
It's just about a year and a half. Okay.
What? Oh my God.
Maybe I didn't get what you were saying. Being a global company, saying I should.
Okay, let me rephrase the question.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you do not have enough US experience?
I don't know whether that is an inhibiting factor. I think I'm more concerned about how I would build my network here or connections here, so I can be referred to other organizations more than
Okay.
US experience.
So let's
as
come
such,
up with strategies, very tactical, pragmatic strategies. First of all, this whole thing about not having local experience drives me nuts. If you ever are given that feedback, especially since you just told me that you have been in a global organization that has offices around the world, that's not even a factor. Don't even worry about it.
Okay.
What I recommend, however, that you do from a pragmatic sense, on your LinkedIn profile is to remove all your locations. It's honestly not even important or necessary information, and it should not be even a factor in the hiring process. Okay.
Right.
So I would just remove that just to be completely safe. Okay.
Okay.
Now back to the whole, I don't know a lot of people. There are a few things that I recommend for people. And by the way, I've worked with people who found jobs while they were still in their country. So I've helped a client who was in India, and she got an offer in North America before even leaving India.
Okay.
I've also helped someone in Mexico land a job in North America before even leaving Mexico. So how do you do that? There are a few ways you can do that. Number one, you're an executive. So how do executives find jobs? Not by applying to jobs on the job board.
Yeah.
You got to build relationships with executive recruiters. That's what you need to lean on the most. Okay. So I would go on Google and I would search for executive recruiters within your city. Okay. So I'm just going to make up a city for now because we don't want to disclose where you're located. And I'll just say executive recruiters in New York City, right? That's what I would do. And I would even put your role. Like if it's, I'll say, for example, product management executive recruiters in New York City. And then go through the websites of all of these executive recruitments, placement agencies, and I would check out their website, find, a contact information. I would even, I would check them out. I would see if they have some jobs listed just to make sure that they're credible. Because if they don't have any jobs listed, and it doesn't have to be a job that you want, but just to have jobs listed, if you don't see that means it's not a legitimate place. That means it may be a career services place or a scam.
Okay.
So how you know that it's legitimate is by seeing that they have jobs that are posted.
Okay.
Now that you've assessed that they are legitimate, what I would do is now look for people who work there. Look for people who work there via LinkedIn. So you'll get the people names associated with that organization. You can either go on LinkedIn, find the company, and then there's usually a tab that says people, and it will list all the people who work there, and then you can connect with those recruiters. Or you can just put in a Google search. Let's say one of the big ones is Randstad. You know, executive Randstad, and just put in LinkedIn, the word LinkedIn, and you'll start seeing people listed who work
Okay.
there. And then you can
Okay.
click on their LinkedIn profiles and say, hey, you know, whatever their name is, would love to connect with you. Or it would be an honor to connect with you. And I would just keep it as short and sweet as that. They will check out your profile and make a determination whether they're going to connect with you or not based on how you've branded yourself.
Okay.
So that takes me to the next point. Branding yourself is important. You want to come across as an executive
Yeah.
across your LinkedIn. Not seeing that right now in the heading,
Yeah.
and that needs to be up leveled. And in
Right.
your about section, don't just say that you're an experienced. Actually, you are saying that you have over two decades of experience. Keep it simple. Just say 20 plus years of experience, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So the branding needs to be a little bit on point so that we can create an authority. And if anyone here who's on the live wants to get my masterclass on how to come across as an influencer and an expert in your field, comment in the chat so that my team can reach out to you and share with you that training. It's a really good training. You're going to learn a lot. I have several trainings that go over how to position your LinkedIn profile to create authority. So I recommend that you reach out and we can send it to you as well. So rebranding yourself is key. When you brand yourself, people are going to want to network with you and connect with you when you brand yourself as a leader. Okay. So, how you can increase your network is by positioning yourself as a leader and connecting with executive recruiters. And also making sure that the SEO on your LinkedIn basically draws in recruiters, because recruiters are going to be searching. They source on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is probably one of the number one places to source candidates. Executives, they get headhunted. They don't apply for jobs. They get headhunted most of the time. Most of the time, of course, because I just told you a story of how my client applied and he got the job. But 90% of the time, you're headhunted. So you got to make yourself searchable and found more easily. That's what you need to work on. Right now, your LinkedIn connections is below 501. You got to work on that. You got to increase your connections and you got to optimize your LinkedIn profile so that it creates credibility and it also makes you get found and appear and get ranked higher in the search results. So when you fix those things, that's going to help you get found. And that's what's going to compensate for you not knowing a ton of people in your area.
Okay.
Because guess what? Even people who know people also have the same problem. Just because you know people doesn't mean they're going to know the right jobs.
Okay.
And so you want to target the right people and not necessarily rely on having a network or referrals. Now, of course, you should build relationships with people and expand your network. How else can you do that other than building relationships with executive recruiters and being more searchable on LinkedIn? Where do executives hang out in your space? Where do you think?
Not really sure.
Conferences,
Yes.
meetups,
Yeah,
company events
that's correct.
that are open to the public. Find them and attend them, and then talk to people. Now, to me, the lowest hanging fruit is the global organization that you were part of.
Mm.
Connect with people in the US office.
Okay.
And even if you don't know them, just say, hey, I noticed that we're part of the same organization. Would love to connect. I noticed that you are in the US office. I used to work in X office. Would love to connect. There you go. That's an opportunity for networking.
Okay.
Do you know anyone at all in the US? I mean, you've worked in the US for what, a year and a half?
Yes, but my team was actually in the UK and in India. So I haven't worked with many people in the US office.
Doesn't matter. I bet you that out of whatever 20, 30 people that you've probably known in the UK office, there's going to be one person, at least one person, who knows someone who works in the US.
Mm.
So I want you to make a list of every single person that you've worked with, doesn't matter where they're located, and start saying hi to them, having conversation with them, and letting them know about your situation.
Okay.
You never know. I'll tell you another story. One of my clients, which is nuts that she didn't even know that. And that's why people don't talk to each other. And when you don't talk to people, you're not going to get opportunities, right? So one of my clients, she was going through a career transition. She was working at the same organization for 17 years, and she did not like it at all. She wanted to leave. I gave her this exercise. I said, connect with every single person you know, family member, non-family member, friends, say hello, let them know about what's going on with you, show curiosity in them, nurture those relationships that you haven't nurtured in a while, and see what happens. So she went to this family gathering. Her grandfather was there, and he learned about her career transition. Turns out that the guy works at CVS, and they had the exact opportunity that she's looking for. Got her resume, forwarded to HR. She got the interview. She got the job, and now she's happy. But she didn't even think about that until I told her, until I let her know that she should just chat with people. Every single person. Make a list of every single person you know.
Yeah. So
Because
you're saying that don't worry about who they are, where they are, just connect with anyone. Someone might actually come up with
exactly.
something. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. The world is smaller than you think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just went to a Pilates class, and the instructor went to Costa Rica, and turns out one of the students in the Pilates class had a cousin who is a life coach in Costa Rica. What are the chances? So you
Yeah.
see, like when you talk and make conversation with people and connect with people that you haven't talked to in a long time, opportunities happen. But when we're by ourselves and not really, saying anything to someone, we won't know. So what are you going to lose?
Nothing really. Yeah.
Exactly. Awesome.
Makes a lot of
Helpful?
sense. Yeah. Yes, very, very much, Nada. Thank you so much. Especially, thank you for clearing the confusion around whether I need to look at lower levels, because that was what was, I was not able to really decide, but you've thrown completely different perspective here, and that's super, super helpful. Yeah.
I am
Thank you so
glad
much.
that you realize that. And I will tell you that, and the thing that I'm going to end with here for everyone is that the most successful people that I've ever worked with in the last 4 years of doing this day in and day out are the people who are not afraid to dream big. Okay?
Yeah.
We have the ability, unfortunately, to limit ourselves. It's all in our head. We give ourselves excuses and we give ourselves reasons. Anything you do in life is going to be hard. I'll tell you all. Doesn't matter what you do, it's always going to be hard. Would you rather choose to do the hard things that you hate, or would you rather do hard things that you love? Obviously, the second part. So,
Yeah.
dream big and don't let anyone tell you that you have to do the practical thing,
I know. Yeah.
because it's prison when that happens. It's prison. And sometimes it comes from childhood, with where our parents tell us, oh, do the practical thing, don't dream big, what you're saying is silly. And so we bring it into our adulthood, and that's what happens. But think about all the successful people in the world. The chances of them winning, whether it's, winning the Olympics or being a humongous, influencer like Oprah Winfrey and having her own TV show. I mean, she was told that she's not even a good reporter at some point. Did she listen to them? No, she dreamt big, and this is what happened. So dream big, everyone. That's what I'm going to leave you with. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lydia.
Thank you, Nana. Thank you for your advice and help.
You're very welcome. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Do me a favor. Share with me what your biggest takeaway was from today, because that's also going to help me know what I need to focus on in terms of content to help you all out. And if there is a particular topic that you want me to dive deep into as well, or recommendations or frustrations or struggles that you want answered, please, don't be scared and share them in the comments, because I want to make sure that I put out content that is useful to all of you. I'm very passionate about what I do. I hope that this is also a lesson for you all to, see that and see the importance of that, right? I truly believe that that's what has made me achieve, success, is to dream big and to be and to ensure that whatever I do is something that I enjoy. Yes, dream big. If that is your takeaway, then I'm happy. All right, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful evening. We're ending early tonight. If you know anyone who could benefit from being a guest, definitely share with them, repost or share with them the link to this, event. Ask them to DM me so that my team can ensure that they're guests. If you want to be a guest, don't be shy. You saw that you can, use a different name, or turn off your camera. This is a safe space. All right, everyone. Hope you have a good evening, and thank you so much for tuning in.